Hey there, people. Okay, so I'm going to do one final update for the moment before I probably go rest of the like, but you'll notice there's some changes. Um, Ignore the large amounts of white like on this at the moment. See, we've got light blue areas in here. Um, and that is because we actually have basic river system. Now, there's no erosion or the like happening yet. That's coming. We actually have quite a few extra systems in here now. Um, so if we look, helps if I move that for you. If we look down through here, right? The section we've been working on is this milestone 3. Um, we've got our pole temperature mapping and everything. Part of this, I'll probably map back in soon. Some of this needs to be um, dynamic. Think of this at the moment. Um, yeah, not that doesn't necessarily tie fully back in. There's a lot happening here. There's a lot of simulation going on here. We output to all of our atmospheric hydrology stuff to the GPU at the moment. There's some stuff that's coming which will be CPU based because it's quicker that way. But we have all of our moisture and stuff, and then you'll notice we've got runoff, we've got flow iteration, flow decay, river thresholds, um, and then depression filling iterations, um, higher the number, lower the sim. Size for our mask, so I go for our ocean mask, you know, larger the mask, more going to um, work, but, but less accurate. Um, how often we rebuild it, what our biome IDs are for, because we pull stuff from a biome file. How often we're rebuilding some of our maps and the like, right? And then we have our globe. Now, if I run this, you will notice that we get the stuff that we started with. Paused it for a moment here because I'm going to come to our map subsystem and then unput. So we have rivers drawing and the like. Stepping through. Now, if I come here, we already seen the plates. In here last time. Height was in here last time. Temperature visualization showing various temperature. This isn't mapping properly yet. The atmospheric model's not complete. So we're not getting the bands. Another version of the temperature modeling. Our main water mask. Our wind visualization, though this is really rough at the moment. Not really there. Moisture visualization. So all of our moisture levels, stuff like that, which you'll see, is changing over the course of time. Precipitation, again, some of this needs to be fed back into models and the like. Cloud visualization, which again doesn't, not quite perfectly there yet. But then we get river visualization. And you'll notice that we're getting flows and the like. We get a lot of these areas because, stuff flows down and into them, and we don't have erosion yet coming. Flow accumulation, which shows how our flows are accumulating. And then our ocean mask, which is our coastline. So we've got water that can be ocean. We also have water that is non-ocean, right? And if we come up to biomes, we can see that, like, for a moment there we had a trapped in inbound ocean over here for a moment. We've got one over here, and then it's opened back up, but now it's trapped again. You can see that this inland sea at time is becoming open and then non-opened and then open. Um, we're still working on some more of the simulation stuff. I have GPT trying to give me the data I need for that. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But, you know, overall I'm impressed with what it's managed. We currently simulating about half a mil, yeah, about 500,000 years each step at the moment. Um, we can increase that, decrease it, just depends on how long we want the generation to go for. Smaller step size we use, the more granular generation will be, because obviously it's able to do more iterations over the steps like that. But I'm waiting until we get most of the stuff done for this, because just adding these river flow maps got very expensive. I think if you look, we are really hammering the CPU when it comes to um, compute now. So just to give you an idea, Zast not running anything versus us running while generating, and you can see, you know, we're almost 100% on the 5080 here. We can adjust some of this, you know, reducing the texture down would rapidly decrease this. Um, Changing some of the other iteration stuff and the like, make this run faster, etc. But yeah, and I am doing, well, I'm trying to do optimizations as we go, because obviously, you know, hammering your CPU is annoying. Hammering your GPU can be annoying as well. Plus, we're using a chunk of VRM at the moment. Which basically means, you know, like if I point out on this at the moment, we're using 11.3 gigabytes of RAM during the generation. But if we let the generation actually finish, I think that drops somewhat. Um, and not all of that is Unity. I've got other things open in the background and things like that. Pardon the yawn. We'll let this actually run. Almost done. Boom. Drop off, but of course, because we aren't unloading a lot of the maps yet. There's a bunch of maps here debugging that we don't need. Likely at the end. But I figured I would show people what is, the last one before I probably go take a break for the moment. To show that we can get slightly more performant generation, like just the exact same feed. We're just going to change this to 4096 by 2048. You'll notice that the generation is a lot faster. In some regards, it's definitely not hammering the CPU as much. Still getting mostly the same level of detail when it comes to our world. With just some areas, not quite as granular. But with the headroom we got here, we could make these run faster. For example, we could do more iterations of our lakes and that potentially. Yeah. Anyway, that's where it's at the